What's up, guys? Welcome to another 5-Minute Friday night edition, as you can see. So I've been getting a lot of comments lately about my S9 videos and even some from my Note 8 videos, and everybody's been asking me to do star shots. So here we are. Y'all asked for it. You're gonna get it. I'm gonna use the drift method. Freaking incredible. Round F16 for that to get that sunburst. So I know you can't really see it right now because the filming and all that, but there are stars out there. It's actually quite a clear New Mexico night, which is pretty typical. And the only downside is right now the moon is out and it's up there. It's about 80%, so it's a big giant light bulb in the sky. So we're not gonna get as many stars as we would for a pure moonless night, but I've already taken some test shots with the S9 Plus, and rest assured, there are stars in there, which quite surprised me. All right, so welcome to ground level. So I've got my S9 Plus here on my tripod. I've got it in pro mode, and I've got it at 10 seconds, which is the maximum shutter. I've got it at ISO 200, which surprisingly is not its maximum of 800, but again, that's because of the moon up there. I've got it set to, I took it off auto white balance, which is really important when you're doing this kind of stuff. So I've got it set to a custom Kelvin at 4100. And most importantly too, I've locked the focus to manual, and there's a little mountain icon when you switch to manual and you zoom up. It's not zoom, but you do the little scrolly wheel thing up, and then there's a little mountain icon. That stands for infinity. So I've got it locked on manual focus at infinity. And with all of that, it still says my EV says plus 0.3. So that means that it's a third of a stop overexposed according to its meter. But for night stuff, it's okay. Oh yeah, and of course I have it set to the f1.5, which is the perk of having the S9 Plus. So you get that extra wide open aperture there, which is proving to be quite nice. And then the last thing is I have my timer set to a 2-second timer. That way when I click the button, it gives me a 2-second countdown to reduce the camera shake and all that from the tripod. And then the only other thing that I'm doing really is we just came out here to test, so I didn't put too much effort into location scouting. So I just found this yucca kind of on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere out here, and just lit it up with a lume cube. Same thing that's lighting me up right now, but I put another one behind it. So just to give a little bit of foreground interest, because this is just a flat desert. So. And then just for kicks and giggles, I decided to compare it to my 5D Mark IV, and I might even compare it to my 1DX2 just for extreme giggles. Alright, so it's the next day. I decided just to come back and put the images on the computer and kind of edit them and compare and just have a little more time to think about what I think, I guess. So what do I think? Well, I'd definitely say there was pros and cons, you know, like good and bad. And the good is that, well, it can do it. I mean, here's the edited image, and I mean, I will say that it looks better than I anticipated. I went into this thinking it was gonna look really bad, but it actually kind of surprised me in that it looks okay. It's really soft, obviously, and that's for two reasons. One is I did do noise reduction on it, even though it was only at ISO 200. And two, the focusing, even though it said it was set to infinity, may not have been right. What I should have done was focus stacked, and I should have done another image focused on the cactus, and then another image focused at infinity, like I do for my DSLRs, but I didn't do that. And then the other reason it's soft is, of course, because it's a phone sensor. I mean, you know, it's tiny. So if you're not looking at it coming from DSLRs like I am, then I think it's acceptable. I really do. I think that what you can get out of these phones is quite impressive to me. And I am going to go back out there on a new moon with the Milky Way out, so that I will have more stars and the Milky Way, and that will be coming up within the next month or so. I have to wait for that right now, because right now, last night, the moon was 80% full. There's a full moon in 4 days, so I gotta wait a little while, but I will do that, and I really want to see what it's like under a new moon with the Milky Way. So like I mentioned before last night, just for kicks and giggles, I decided to compare this to my 5D Mark IV and my 1DX2. So that it'll help put it in perspective a little bit what you're getting, and just for the heck of it, I guess. So here's the 5D Mark IV image. Here's the 1DX2 image. Here's the S9 Plus image. And here they are, all three next to each other. So clearly anyone who's expecting DSLR level quality out of a phone is probably a little bit disillusioned because that's clearly not going to happen. But take a look at this. This is the raw image, just straight out of the camera with no editing, and then here's the edited image. So you can see a big difference, and I think that that goes to show the power of editing, which if you don't know how to edit on mobile, check out this video that I just did up here. I'm gonna go with here. And that'll kind of help you figure out how I edit my images in Lightroom Mobile. The last thing to note here is that the images, aside from the sensors and the lenses and everything of the actual cameras, all the images were framed approximately the same, and I used approximately the same setting. So on the S9 Plus, I had it set to 10-second exposure, ISO 200, manual focus, manual white balance, all of that. And the widest aperture could go, which on this is f1.5. And so I set the DSLRs to similar. I set the 5D Mark IV and the 1DX2 both to 10-second, ISO 200, manual focus, manual white balance, all of that. The only thing that differs is the lenses were different. I used a 16 to 35 f4 on the 5D4, and I used my Canon, what is it? This guy. I used my Canon Cine lens, which is a T3.1, which is pretty much the same as an f2.8, and on the 1DX2. So aside from the aperture differences and the lens differences, I tried to make them all roughly the same. Again, this isn't scientific here, but it was just for fun. Alright, so that's it for today's video. I don't want to go too long into this because it wasn't a tutorial and I'm not going super in depth into anything. It was just kind of a let's go see what this can do because everyone keeps asking me. So I hope you found that useful. If you have any questions about any of the settings for the phone or the cameras or anything that I did, put those in the comments below and I'll definitely answer them. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. It really helps me out. Also, subscribe to the channel. I've got new videos every Tuesdays and Fridays. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.